The empty house, that's what we called it. With each passing day, the house decayed more. It looked like everyone rejected it, not wanting to move in. It was dying of loneliness and not having a loving family to take care of it. But that changed a few weeks ago. The cleaning and renovating crews came in first, then the interior design team. The furniture looked expensive and old, ancient even. It was the kind I had seen in old black and white horror movies, the one the mysterious old man had in a solitary castle. As the days passed, the house came back to life little by little. As if waking up from a deep slumber, it was blooming back to its original beauty. I watched the process of revival almost every day, fascinated by how the house was changing. It was something that I had never seen before. I found it fascinating how a group of people with different jobs could make an old house beautiful again. Yet I never saw the family who moved there. They didn't even come once. So I thought that when you pay for expensive goods and services like these, at least one family member must go and see if everything is alright and going as planned. But no one ever came. My dad was on the porch. He read the newspaper and drank his coffee. "Hey Dad, do you know who's moving in?" I asked him, peering out at him from inside the house. "No idea, son. Suppose it's a rich family. Heard they paid a fortune for all the work done to that house. Guess it's not that empty now, is it?" he said, chuckling. "Yeah, guess so. But you haven't seen them around, have you?" "I saw a bald guy. He wore a black suit and carried a briefcase. Maybe someone from the family? He was an odd-looking duck, let me tell you. No facial hair either. He looked like one of the people you see in videos about conspiracy theories," Dad said, raising an eyebrow. He sipped on some coffee and returned to reading the paper. "Something's off about this whole thing, Dad. I can feel it. Don't know what, but it feels creepy. Damn it." Dad shrugged and returned to reading the paper. I went back inside the house. I didn't know why, but a cold shiver came creeping up my spine. I shrugged it off and got to reading the last issue of my favorite comic book. And I got lost in reading for many hours. Then, finally, I lifted my head and saw that it had gotten dark outside. Mom called me downstairs to dinner. Before I went, I looked out the window and for the first time, I saw the lights turned on in the empty house. Then, a silhouette passed by, running in front of the window. It was that of a small boy. I went into the kitchen and told my dad the new neighbors had arrived. "Do you think we should go and say hello?" I asked my parents and motioned to the house across the street. There was no car and, most of all, no sign of how they had arrived or when. "I mean, I still have some apple pie in the fridge. I could put some in a plastic container and we can go if you want, honey," Mom said, draining the pasta in the sink. We had bolognese that night, one of my favorite dishes. Mom was the best cook I had ever seen in my life. The aroma still lingered in the kitchen and slowly spread throughout the house. I was already at the door, waiting to go and say hello to our new neighbors. We arrived on their front porch and I rang the doorbell. A thin, tall lady opened the door. She wore a white apron stained with red droplets. I thought she had probably had an unfortunate kitchen accident while cooking. This had happened to my mom before too. Things like squeezing too hard on the ketchup bottle and spreading it everywhere, or staying too close to the sauces while stirring. "Hi there, we're the Buchanans. We live right across the street from you. We just wanted to bring you some pie and welcome you to the neighborhood," my mom said, honestly excited to meet the new neighbors. The woman glanced back. She looked uneased. Not scared, only startled. She began biting on her nails. There was a faint clinking noise somewhere in the house. I didn't know if they were eating or if it was something else. "Hello, we're the Millers. Sorry, but now's not the right time for a visit. We just arrived and we are so tired. We were heading to bed, you see. It's been a long day for us. We traveled a great distance to come here," she said, constantly looking back and forth. A sharp metallic odor started coming out of the house. It was intoxicating, nauseating, and I felt sick to my stomach. It smelled like rotten stew or something like that. I looked at both my parents' faces and their eyes said it all. They felt it too, but tried to act cool about it. "Oh, we're sorry. We're just going to leave now. We don't want to intrude. Here, take this and come by our house when you're feeling better," my mom said apologetically, handing the lady the apple pie. "Who is it, Mom?" a kid asked, coughing. I heard footsteps running and approaching the door. A pale boy with hair as black as the night appeared from behind the woman. He looked at me as if I was the strangest thing he'd ever seen. His big dark eyes studied my every movement from head to toe. A sense of unease came creeping down my spine, and I shivered when looking at him. His fingers were all dirty, and he had what I thought to be dirt under his fingernails. Why would he have had such dirty hands if the whole family was going to sleep? "Richard, honey, why aren't you in bed, sweetie?" she asked the pale boy, patting him on the head. He never broke his gaze on me. He just watched me with empty eyes, as empty as the house was before they arrived. Then, out of nowhere, he lunged forward and grabbed my arm, squeezing tighter and pushing his nails in my skin until it parted. It hurt like hell, and blood came out, even if it was only in tiny droplets. "Do you want to be my friend?" he asked me, tilting his head. I backed away and felt sick to my gut. Something was wrong with this kid, and a strange sensation came over me. It was as if my blood suddenly boiled inside my veins, and my heart raced inside my chest. "Hey lady, what's gotten into him? We just came here to say hello when your kid attacks my boy," my dad stepped in angrily. "Richard is feeling sick. He hasn't been eating well these past few days. I apologize. Richard, honey, can you say you're sorry, please? For Mama, sweetie?" the strange woman asked her son. The pale boy just ran away, not saying anything. "We better leave. Come on, let's go," my dad said. "It's okay, Pops, I'm alright," I told him, trying to calm him down a bit. I could feel a massive tension in the air, and even though I was not feeling well, I had to try and calm everyone down. After we got home, my mom got my small wounds all cleaned up. Serves us right for trying to be welcoming in this goddamn neighborhood, Sue. Damn, those people give me the creeps. I wonder if there's a man in the house or if there's just the two of them. My father trailed off. "I think I'm going to bed. Ain't feeling too well." "That kid was off, wasn't he? Rather peculiar," I said faintly to my parents. "Sorry about that, Nick. Didn't expect them to be that off," my mom said, gesturing with her hands. I went upstairs to my room with a big fat headache. I felt my body temperature was going down, like I was freezing, or maybe hypothermia was kicking in. It took me a while to fall asleep. Cold shivers alternated with hot, feverish episodes, and I twisted and turned on all sides of the bed until I fell asleep. I had nightmares, but I don't remember what I had dreamt. All I knew was it was a dark dream, something belonging to the realm of the fantastique, an ungodly thing, unnatural, one that shouldn't exist. I felt the temperature in the room drop a few degrees, and I got colder as the seconds passed by and I was half asleep. I'd gotten thirsty all of a sudden. I fully woke up only to realize I was not in my room anymore, but some kind of attic. And from then on, my life changed forever. The room was dark and all I heard were squishing noises and heavy breathing and snarling. "You didn't answer my question," a voice said from the dark. I felt a myriad of negative emotions arrowing my heart. Then I could catch a glimpse of a small, hunched figure. It was drinking some thick liquid from a jar, drinking and gulping like it was the thirstiest beast alive. Its eyes gleamed in the dark, and the brittle beast fixated on me. It snarled again and threw the jar on the floor. Then it came out of the darkness and slowly shuffled into the moonlight that made its way through the attic window. The horror that stood beside me looked at me as if I was merely easy prey. The beast resembled the kid, but he had changed. He had morphed into something primal, into his true self. The thick crimson liquid covered his razor-sharp teeth and his lips too. He shrieked as he jumped on me. The brittle beast had superhuman strength, and it pinned me down to the ground in an instant. "I brought you here so we can be friends. But you see, I can only go out at night," the beast said, his voice sharp. It made a terrible ringing in my head. "And you will only go out at night too." He sunk his teeth into my throat, and I felt the blood leaving my body. Life left my body too. I wasn't human anymore. The beast had changed me. "Please, stop," I told him, and felt tears streaming down my face. "You are too weak. You are not worthy of this precious gift I'm giving you," the monster hissed. Then it took me by my neck and threw me out the window with one hand. Splinters and shards of glass accompanied me on my trip to the soil outside. I could feel myself changing, and I felt new teeth coming out, replacing the old. I could see more colors floating in the night. My senses sharpened, and I could hear 1,000 heartbeats coming from 1,000,000 miles away. I started with small animals, but their blood could satiate my hunger only for so long. I had to survive. I had to live even if I was dead. I had to feed. I needed fresh blood. My parents must have been heartbroken. I visited them a couple of times during the night and watched them sleep. I left them a note saying I'm sorry I went away. I didn't want them to know the monster I'd become. I decided not to visit them any longer. I could barely contain myself and not feed on them while inside the house. God only knows where this life might lead me. If you can call this a life.